Getting to the money, I be getting to the back. People think I'm funny cause I always make them laugh. I ain't even being funny, I be really spitting facts. I'm about balance and I got talents. Every challenge I overcome. Low key is savage, never be average. Give me a task and I'll get it done. Minding my business whenever I come in. I'm hitting in business while I'm having fun. I ain't worried about winning, but that would be dumb cause there's no competition. I already won, huh? Yeah.
Peace, peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. Now, I did forget my chart today, so I can't really show you the chart, but if you have a chart, a transit chart, you should pull it up. You can use it for today's date or the date of the 13th or the 14th for the Virgo lunar eclipse, which is what we'll be discussing today. But so you can follow along. But yeah, so um, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right, so we'll be talking about the Virgo full moon lunar eclipse. They say it's a blood moon at 23 degrees, happening again on March 13th or the 14th, depending on where you are. The mutable signs will feel this the most as Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. And you would have started feeling this 2 weeks before this date, and you'll feel it 2 weeks after, but it'll be playing out for a month and even 6 months after this eclipse, just because we still have the Aries eclipse at the end of this month. That's going to prolong this out until April for sure. Also, we have this has happened during a retrograde. So until that retrograde energy clears up, to be quite frank, we're still heavily in eclipse energy where anything can change. We're in that eclipse, faded energy. And then it'll unravel throughout the 6 months until we get to the next eclipse season. And so be mindful of that. You can also look back 6 months, excuse me, when we had the Pisces eclipse at the end of September, and think back what was going on for you, what was coming up for you, and you'll see that culminating now. Whatever it was you was working on, trying to understand, because of the retrogrades, that could be an understatement, to be quite frank. And because it was in Pisces, and we still have a stellium of placements in Pisces, I'm not going to lie, things just might not be clear, right? We're really probably not going to see clarity until we get to that Aries eclipse. And even then, I'd be willing to say that there's still going to be some clarity, lack of clarity and uncertainty because of the Pisces energy that's so heavy. But once Neptune moves into Aries at the end of April, I think that's when this eclipse and fogginess energy will subside, because Aries is about clarity, making moves, taking action. And even though it's in the sign of Neptune that's ruled by Pisces, that rules cloudiness and fogginess, Aries is waking that up. And so I think then we'll really start to get clarity about everything that's kind of been happening and culminating over the last 6 months. That's just my personal opinion. Some people might disagree, as if you're in the astrological field and have some kind of study and understanding. But for myself personally, I'm not even mentally in the mind frame to think back 6 months ago. And unless you're somebody who's super, super intentional and you're taking notes and writing stuff down, with everything else that happens during eclipse season, there's just so much going on. I genuinely and honestly just don't think that we've really had the time to stop and think and say, hey, what did actually happen? Um, and how is that unfolding and unraveling? And it could be so much so that we're in the moment, going with the flow. Mutable energy is very flexible, that again, it's not that we're not seeing it, but it's happening more subconsciously than it is outwardly, where we can see it, feel it, notice it, recognize it, and we're having an awakening. So that's just me. I'd love to hear how other people are feeling about this. But yeah, I'm also being heavily affected because both Venus and Mercury are retrograde, or, Mercury will go retrograde after this eclipse. And let me tell you, I'm ruled by both. And it's disrespectful to my process. Okay. So yeah. Again, take that with a grain of salt. You'll know your story better than me, but that's just kind of how I feel. Not until the end of April we'll get real clarity about what everything that's going on or has been going on that has been culminating from all of this energy for the last 6 months. And so you can also look back at the themes from 9 years ago and 18 years ago, because these are the last times that we've had the eclipses in Virgo and Pisces. And so Virgo is tied to the North Node, and the North Node is karmic baggage. And so we're clearing out, letting go of things during this full moon. Full moons are about clearing out and letting go. So that's double the letting go, clearing out, decluttering, and detoxing. So you'll hear me say that a whole lot. It'll be very repetitive, but that's just what this energy is representing tenfold. And so we could see the past returning. Again, we're letting go of Virgo themes, which could be overthinking, overanalyzing, the idealism of perfectionism, which doesn't exist, getting lost in the details, and health and health habits, work and work routine and work environment. Um, And this could also be doctor's office, doctor's appointments. We could see a lot of changes in these fields, and pets and pet health. Oops. Okay, so again, there is a stellium in Pisces. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 planets. Again, I apologize for not having the chart, but Um, a stellium just means that there's more than 2 or 3 planets in one sign. And so you have Venus, Mercury, the North Node, the Sun, and I think there's more. I just can't think of what it is, but there's quite a few. It's stacked up right now of planets in Pisces. And then when you look to the opposite, anytime we have a full moon, it's opposite the sun. And um, all you see is the sun and the south node. And so clearly, Pisces is dominating this eclipse for sure. Like there's no getting around that. Pisces is the strongest energy here. And again, that is a representation of what we are clearing out, letting go, releasing, and ending. Because Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, it's the last sign. And when we have the Aries eclipse, it's the first sign. So we are really, really, really digging into releasing and letting go of really an era, a complete era, a way of doing things on a world stage. Like we are realizing and waking up to things that need to change on a really deep level. And and the sun is illuminating that. The sun illuminates things that um Piscean themes, right? Because it's in Pisces. And so this is things that are happening subconsciously that we're trying to release and let go, habits and patterns that are really hard to let go of because there are things that we've been doing for generations, you know. This is how we lived our life. These are things that we abided by, followed, believed in, had faith in. These were, ways of life. When we look at Jupiter, which is in Gemini, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. This is, how we operate. And like Gemini is all about your daily routine, your daily structure. Virgo's ruled by Mercury as well as Gemini. And so we are really talking about how the system has been functioning, how it runs, how it moves, how it motivates, how it's structured, all changing. I mean, we can all kind of be feeling again subconsciously like we know these things, or that there are things not just in our personal lives and environments, but in the world that are run in a particular way that is just not serving us anymore, and they need to change. And so, because it's such a big ending, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. And because it's such a strong subconscious energy, it's a mindset now that needs to change. You have to start believing and thinking a certain way. Mercury, Jupiter, and Gemini, Pisces, having faith in the process that things are changing for the better. And that's just like the example that I give about my addiction to cigarettes, any kind of addiction, to be quite frank, or vices or things that we do to pass time, right? It's hard to give those things up because you have to fill, in order to give them up and let them go, you have to fill them in with other healthier patterns and vices and addictions. Let's just keep it a buck. These aren't things that are meant to be gotten rid of. They are just things that are going to change and form into something else. And that's a hard concept because I can hear a lot of people like, what are you telling me, to keep my addiction? No, but they're a part of human nature, right? And that's why the vices are like a healthier understanding of addictions, right? And so if I smoke cigarettes and I want to quit smoking, I have to continue doing something with my hands to stop doing that behavior. That's now called a vice. So I could be sewing, um, cooking, whatever it is to fill in the need to feel like, I need to do this all day. It's just a habit and a pattern that I'm used to doing that keeps that fills in time, different times of the day. Right. And until you find something else to fill in that time, it's going to be harder to let go of this addiction or this vice. It needs to be changed to doing something else. And so I love looking at Mars and Cancer and Mars and Leo transit that's going on kind of behind the scenes. It's nowhere near connected to this at all, but I bring it up because it's the creativity, um, taking action on different like things that you're good at, skills, building skills, and things of that nature could be very Leo and Cancer, or changing the way your family's structured and the things that you guys do together, maybe incorporating some playing card games, or going on little vacations, or like finding ways to get out the house, going for walks, exercising, changing your diet, maybe watching some cooking shows, whatever it is you are trying to learn and redo. You could be changing your diet and the way you eat, and so you're watching cooking shows and then you cook that meal. You could be watching a podcast or what have you while somebody else is cooking, and you're doing it with them at the same time simultaneously. And you practice doing this every day, every single day, until it becomes a new habit, a new vice, a new addiction, right? And so I think that's what a lot of what's going on here. And then doubly, because again, Venus and Mercury are in retrograde in Aries and Pisces, which is where these two eclipses are happening. We're really, really being forced to think about that. And so it could be really hard to change. So try not to be so hard on yourself on implementing new things that you want to do. But remember, Mercury's retrogrades to me are like trial periods. You know how you get you sign up to a subscription, you get the first 30 days free just to check it out to see if you like it. That's it. So you're going to be training for 30 days. You're going to be trying new things. You're going to be researching new things. You're going to be reading just to see, do whatever it is you feel like you need to do or that's calling your heart's desires, right? What it makes you happy, what you love to do. This could be dancing with the Leo and Cancer energy, sports, um, boxing. It doesn't just have to be exercising. Like not everybody's an exercise person, or it's not as fulfilling as they might want it to be, right? I was considering taking some stepping classes or going to boxing or some other kind of thing instead of exercising. Because when I think of exercising, it doesn't motivate me to want to get up to be, to build muscle or build cardio or whatever. There are other ways of doing that. It might be that you're starting your own gym in your home, Mars and Cancer, changing your home environment and what you do in your home. Pisces can be the things that you do behind closed doors at nighttime. How do you prepare for bedtime? Um, you know, your faith, your spiritual practices, trusting the process. It's also very creative. When I think of creativity from a Piscean theme, this is music, theater, documentaries, film, photography, making clothes, sneakers, really, leggings and pants, right? Because it rules the mermaid. And so the mermaid is covered from her hip down. So that's your feet and your legs, clothes for feet and legs, right? It could be stuff like that. Um, and so you could be writing music, writing a book, or learning or studying or doing the research on how to do those things. Um, it could be learning how to make clothes, finding manufacturers and stuff like that. I don't know the process, but if that's something that you're interested in, these could be things that you're looking into. Trying to start a soundtrack, write a song, a poem, things of that nature could be things that are um, coming up for people. The idea is to find what lights your soul on fire, that when you think about it, you can do this shit all day blindly, you know, and have no care in the world. It's like you are the only one in the room, you know? It could be love and romance, right? Especially talking about it from the Leo, Mars and Leo energy, working on relationships, even Venus being retrograde between Pisces and Aries. I think it's a little bit more detrimental with love because we're breaking down patterns of the constructs or confines of what relationships are societal wise and what they are for you. And with Aries being here, everybody knows Aries energy is like, I stand alone, you know? And on a lower vibration, it's very toxic. It's this toxic independence. I can do bad all by myself, Right. And I know that might be hard to hear that saying is toxic, right? But it is because we are here to connect, especially with Pluto and Aquarius and this being the Aquarian age. Aquarius energy wants to connect with others. It's about groups of people, the groups you belong to, things that you do with people that you enjoy being around, people who are on the same page. It's about sovereignty. This is community building, and so I still think it's super important to have your own identity unapologetically down to a T, that you're grounded in who you are because you feel good about yourself, not because it's toxic, and that's going to have to be a balance that people are finding, right? And then you have, I am who I am in a group of people and feeling confident in that, but not toxic. This is somebody who could be a team player, but show up in their own authentic self. I know my role, I know my skills. I'm good at that. I'm okay with helping where I'm good at where I'm good at doing things, with whatever my skills are. I can provide to you. Pisces is about cuppeth runneth over. That means that whether you belong to a group or not, if you're not feeling good, you're going to step back. I need time. I need space. It should be incorporated in your entirety of what this new thing is that you're building. And people are going to accept that and love that about you, because if you're not good, you're not helping anybody. Now we're talking about the lower expression of Pisces, which is codependency. Do you have people who depend on you heavily but don't give back? This is not that. This is what we're releasing and letting go of. It's not my job to help you if I cannot do so. If I can do so, I'm there. I'm solid. I'm in there like swimwear. I'm reliable. I'm responsible. I'm showing up. I have things to offer. I have resources, information, knowledge, support. I'm a coach. Again, whatever your skills are that you can provide, it's great for you to have that and know that first, and then heal yourself spiritually to the point where nobody can tell you about yourself. You show up that way, unapologetically, authentically, being who you are, and you're happy in doing that. And then you can go out in the world and say, this is what I'm good at. I'm looking for more people. Where do I fit in? What group do I belong to? What community do I belong to? What community am I building? What bonds am I doing building? What connections am I building? Who's your circle? Who's your people, your soul tribe? That's what we're moving into. And so before we can get there, we gotta let go of the toxic, overgiving, overanalyzing, overcritical behavior, the self-sabotaging behaviors, the lack of emotion, a lack of wanting to share, and isolating, and again, being all by myself. There's a not having trust there, fear there. I built this. Um, I can't give it away because it's going to be taken away from me. That's not a real thing. That is fear and lack of trust, and something that needs to be healed on a deeper level. Nobody, once you build something up within yourself and you've created something for yourself and you have resources, money, finances, etc. for yourself, nobody can take that from you. Even if people say that they do that, it's not a real thing, you know. But people can come in and deplete you to the point where you feel that way. And so that's the illusion, the delusion of Pisces, that we are letting go of that ideology that somebody can take something from you that you worked hard for. And then we have Saturn in Pisces that's being reborn. Just actually, it's happening today, just before this eclipse. And Saturn, Sun conjunction is like Saturn's dying and being reborn. So, what do we learn from Saturn being in Pisces all this time? Once it moves into Aries, I promise you, if you don't know now, you're going to figure it out. And that's just boundaries around a structure that you built, a wall that you've built, a life that you've built, resources that you've built, finances that you've built, skills that you've built. And Saturn says, okay, now how do we protect this in a non-toxic way without fear? And that's when you start to learn how to protect your assets, protect, again, whatever you build. This is like having a business and having a LLC. It's in a name now. It belongs to you. These are structures. Saturn is about structure and discipline and boundaries, right? Legal paperwork, whatever it is that you have. And knowing when or how to use discernment and allowing who you allow into your life and your energy. A lot of this is going to be very, very, very spiritual. Um, Learning how to block out things for yourself, that you walk around with this sort of force field of knowledge that says, um, because I stand in my power and I know who I am, you won't even approach me if your vibration is low. And even if they do, you'll see them coming a mile away and you already got, this is Saturn. You know, Saturn's like, you cannot pass go. You could not collect $200. Don't ask me for no goddamn money. It's a system that protects you from allowing people to take advantage of you and put you in situations that can potentially mess up what you've built and created. Okay. Structure, boundaries. Okay. Discipline. And so a lot of this could be the dark side of, I'm going to get healthy, but yet you're eating late at night. I'm going to go work out, but yet you sleep all day. And then we're talking about mental and emotional health, being able to share your feelings and express your emotions healthily, making sound decisions mentally, knowing how to process them mentally. So a lot of people might be thinking about going to therapy, having other people to talk to. We're just coming to a realization that something isn't working, something that we do behind the scenes, that we show up one way, but behind closed doors, we're a completely different person. That mask is falling off, Pisces, lower expression of Pisces. It's false, it's lies, it's deceit. It's catfish, it's, scammers, you know, and the moon in Virgo is very, very aware intellectually. It's extremely smart, Mercury, and it's a connection to the body and all these improving health and well-being that we're learning. It's just not like we could be like really feeling the need to detox. Um, Something's not working. Or again, we're learning, studying, training, doing physical health, again, getting therapy, decluttering your home, repairing your home. Um, you could be moving, getting a new job, changing patterns and habits. Um, yeah. So I don't want to be too repetitive, but I think you guys get the picture. Now, on the world stage, unfortunately, there could be a new pandemic or work strikes. I want to say we're looking at past 2021, the end of 2021, addressing a lot of the downfall that has caused what structure we're in right now, which is dissolving Pisces, because of the pandemic that we had in 2020. And so we're addressing everything that they kind of provided as solutions that now have impacted us and has us in detriment, right? And so this could be mental health and um, again, sleep and depression, heavy moods, pharmaceuticals, antidepressants, and just the impact that, again, all those solutions that they provided back then that have put us in detriment. And so we can hear a lot of people finally more numbers or the real numbers of the deaths from the COVID shot. Um, uh, how they, put us on medication and sick care instead of health care, real health care. Um, how it changes our moods and makes us feel heavy and lack of sleep. This could even be in the work field, depending on where you work, like the structure of how the work system is set up. Something's not working, right? And how are we going to fix and change that? Um, or again, we're hearing numbers, data, and research about that. Um, and how much we need to do better and how are we going to fix it, especially because this is at a 23 degrees, which is an Aquarius degree. And so technology, service job, hotels, running errands, serving food, teachers, clerks, unions, labor workers, delivery workers, grocery stores, hygiene products. We're going to see a lot of destruction in these fields. Um, the postal service, if I didn't say that already, I kind of feel like I did. Public transportation. Again, we're going to, animal care. We're going to have statistics, data, research, audits on all of these fields that are going to show us how bad we've declined since 2020. And why did we decline? The system set up like this, can we change it? And I think a lot of that is still going to be technology, AI. We're definitely moving into a digital era. But then, there's going to be later down the line, making sure we don't overdo it. So there's also going to be some people who are going to be totally against digitizing everything. Although financially, I do kind of feel like there's some support there. Um, because it's free energy, basically. It's almost like living off the land, essentially, but there could be some other issues that come with using technology. But we can see things like they can have a robot coming into your home to help you clean so you can take that stress off your back. Um, or the robots are going to take over jobs. And then that's the opposite side of this, where it's like, but how do I work? How am I getting paid? And so there's going to be a lot of questions about reinforcing technology as a way to solve problems. And I think in some cases they'll be super right and really, really good and supportive for people. But in other cases, I also think that there's going to be a lot of pushback for that. And and again, it's just going to be about finding ways to survive, live off the land, become more self-sufficient, learning how to do things on your own. And that's going to be the kind of struggle and or the challenge of what you're learning, training, studying, and replacing with other patterns and habits in your life, a way of life. This is going to change. The world that as we know it is going to change drastically. Some people are going to become like super hippie like and live off the land, live in their trailers. I've been talking about this for years, guys. I've been warning you about this. It's here now, and the downside to that could also be that people react negatively and there'll be like shortages of products and people are panic buying like they did in 2020. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. There could be a lot of street riots and, you know, um, you're gonna have to like protect your home in a way that might not feel so safe. And I think I refer to this as what's that movie where you get that one night 24 hours to fuck up anything you want and no consequences. I don't know why I can't remember the name of that movie. I know you guys know what I'm talking about though. It can kind of feel like that where everybody kind of has to fend for themselves. And so protection, gun rights, and having guns, learning how to fight. I talked about this, learning your exit plans and, survival mode. It's pure survival mode, Aries, right? And that's worst case scenario. I don't really want to talk about that too much. I've been talking about it. So, if you want to hear me rant and rave, you can go listen to my other videos. But essentially, I think you get the point, learning how to save and stock up on water, canned goods, um, um, flashlights, things of this nature. Go do some research on like survival kits and stuff like that. Um, and so we're going to be taking action towards these things and dealing and addressing with, fear, worry, lack, um, depression, um, by meditating, learning a new spiritual practice. Because when it comes to helping other people, it's a huge sacrifice from a Virgoan perspective. Virgo is all about service. That's why it rules the work service fields, all the helping services, nonprofits. And anybody who works in nonprofit, you got to be a strong, humble person to do it the right way. Even when it comes down to donating, what are you donating for? What purpose are you doing it for? Because some people could be doing it for the wrong reasons. And these things are going to be addressed at this time. But what it is preparing you for is hard work to serve others and be humble. You understand? It's aligning you to doing things the right way spiritually. And in your power, Aries, authentically who you are, cuppeth runneth over. You have enough to give. Right now, you should be building yourself up so that worst comes to worst, you'll have for yourself, your family, your environment to survive, and for others if you so feel the need to do so. And then the one last thing I'll say is that this is trine Uranus. The Virgo full moon lunar eclipse is trine Uranus and Taurus, which is food, agriculture, farming, resources, banking, money. We're breaking old habits and patterns from rigid old ways and routines. And that means you got to open up your mind to do that. Um, um, we're going to have a serious, serious, serious awakening that the way we're doing things is too draining or too critical. Again, I often think of love when I think of being a critic, but you can have a very critical boss or a coworker or friends or family members too. But I think relationships are changing in a way because we're not aligned with one other, one way or another of, for one, how something is supposed to be done and or what is supposed to be done. And so Pluto and Aquarius wants you to be aligned to people on your energetic wavelength. And it's going to be uncomfortable moving people around in your life. Like Pluto's just going to be pushing motherfuckers out. Like, no, they ain't really for you. I know you can't see it, but let me help you the fuck out. Pushing it out, destructing structures and people, places, and things in your life, groups, connections in your life. Now is the time to get rid of all of that stuff. It's the breakdown for all of that stuff to make room for the new. And not necessarily everybody is going to be leaving your life, but some you might find that they are actually on the same wavelength. And now it's just about, again, how do we get it done now that we're all having this realization? So it can look like I'm trying to give you an example of like a job. It's not closing, but there's an audit or from an audit, they say, okay, you need to change this thing, that thing, that thing. And so you might close down for like a month or two to make those particular changes within the structure of the company so that you can pass an audit. Think of it like that. Not everybody's necessarily breaking up, but you might separate for a particular time or need a break so that you, again, fill yourself up first, you know, create your vision and then come back and say, okay, how do we get this done? And so it can feel very lonely and isolated, but that's where you go to dream. That's a positive, high vibration of Pisces. You're working in the subconscious. You got to build it in the 3D. You got to go to the Akashic records to get this new dream, figure out what it is, build it, plan it, vision it, hold it, hold it, gain faith in it, build it, build it for yourself and the way you feel it should be done. You should have some kind of experience in building what it is you're coming together with other people with to say, hey, this is my idea. This is how we can do this. And know that it's going to change. Where Pisces is mutable energy. It's all about being flexible because you might not be seeing something from all the perspectives, but when you have four or five other different people, now you got four or five other different ways to do one thing. And so now what you have to do is come together with that one thing, and everybody who's good at whatever particular way this thing is going to be, you understand, and everybody plays their role. Now you have a community, you have a group, a functioning group of building something, working together, living together. You know what I'm saying? And so this is very, very, very spiritual. And I know it's really hard if you don't take the time to isolate, sleep, be lazy, don't fight it. Because just know what's really going on is subconsciously deep down inside, you're rebuilding. It has to start in here first. You got to feel it. Feel your emotions, feel your spirituality, feel your financial blessings, feel your physical changes, feel through the research. I feel like I need to research this. It could be through your dreams that are bringing you signs, symbols, synchronicities. Um, you could be daydreaming a lot. That's you're building your avatar that kind of projects out into the world, if you will, from your Akashic records, from working with your guides and spiritual ancestors, from working with your soul purpose. I was meant to do this. I feel it. And so, I could obviously say a lot more about that, but I think you guys feel me. And so you're visioning your new whatever this is for you. Don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. Just feel it. Okay. And when you're ready to move, you will. But in the background, you could also just be doing the research, doing the study, and trying on different things. Everybody's at different places and spaces with this. Have fun with it. Okay. Ask questions, apologize later. You know, if they love you, they'll stay. If they don't, fuck them. All of the motherfuckers. I love and appreciate y'all. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.